Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Inside Scoop. This one is focused specifically on our coaches, our experienced coaches, and our rec coaches, giving them some actionable tips that will help them develop their players in a fun, balanced, and exciting way. This is our third installment of the show, and I'm sitting down with Coach Rory, who is a YouTube coaching sensation who produces so much quality content, and I'm just honored to have him on the show. Now, in previous shows, if you haven't listened to those, we talked about the battle box and why he loves that as a way to activate the kids and get them warmed up. And so check out that show. We talked about building from the back, the importance of doing that, some tips on getting started with that, along with video content. And in today's show, what we're going to talk about is Coach Rory's view on technical skill training within the team context, when he recommends doing it, when he recommends not so much, and then how does he integrate those technical skills, especially those younger ages, Coach, in the team training context so that it flows naturally anyways. Coach Rory, introduce yourself and let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Neil. Rory O'Neill. I'm from the Harrisburg, PA area, coach for a small club in this area called CASA, and then I do some supplemental work for the Philadelphia Union as part of their player pathway program. And excited to be here.
Okay, Belgium box. That's not chocolate.
It might be a chocolate. I don't know.
You're right. Hey, so when I saw that, it intrigued me, and then I checked it out. I saw you gave Thomas, the YouTuber, who he's been an inspiration for mine. He's a savior for many parents who are trying to figure this stuff out to help their kids at home. I saw that you gave him a shout out. But before we go into the Belgium box, because I'm going to recommend for most people just look at the YouTube video, which explains it pretty well. Give us your thoughts on technical development and skills training within a team context. When, why, when not, how do you approach it?
Yeah, I think this is a real sort of hot button issue when it comes to youth coaching, and especially in this country. And I think the first thing I would say is a lot of the things that we do. So we've talked about battle boxes. Rondos are another good example. That is technical work. It's just not isolated, put a cone down, dribble around a cone, that I think most people who at least have played youth soccer in the last 30 years in this country are used to. And I think we're trying to get away from that. At least I'm trying to get away from that. So the first thing to say is that a lot of the things that I recommend are technical. They're just not technical in the way people are thinking about it. The second thing is that, as coaches, whether you're coaching rec, whether you're coaching, some form of competitiveness or higher competitive, you don't have the time to do these individual technical drills. You might have, let's say, 1 hour twice a week. You might have an hour and a half twice a week. It just depends. So you have to figure out, how are you going to allocate your time to best suit your team? And for me, setting up isolated technical training isn't really that. So when I do it, I do like to do something a little bit more dynamic, like a Belgian box, something that is going to get a little bit more engagement than just let's everybody stand in the line and dribble around cones and dribble around, training sticks and stuff like that. Because at least if you're going to do something, make it dynamic, make it a little bit more interesting, because the kids might do that once or twice, and then they're just going to be like standing around like, oh my gosh, I got to do boxes around this cone, and then I got to do a pullback over here between these two cones. So yeah, for me, that really the two things are, one, I think a lot of the stuff we do is technical, and two, if you're going to do it, you want to do it a little bit more dynamically.
I will say this, and I tell my parents this all the time. Every kid loves to race, chase, tag, and play 1v1. I am going to throw one more thing out there that's borderline controversial. I'm about to do a controversial podcast. I love controversy. I get a little worried when we emphasize individual development in the way that we think about it a little too much. Not that we're not developing individuals, but we have to be clear about what we as coaches can do and what we can't do.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think that the expectation that, well, some parents have, but that even some coaches put on themselves. I mean, you look at some of these, MLS Next academies. I mean, they're training 4 days a week, and one of those days is purely technical. So they might have 8-10 hours of training in 1 week, and 2 of them is technical. Like we can't replicate that in the club realm or the rec realm or anything like that. So to think that we should be doing that, I think to your point is just unrealistic.
Go to the YouTube channel, look up Belgium Boxes to get an idea of how you can organize a technical session that's dynamic and hopefully doesn't bore the kids to death.
I wanted to add one thing, is that, because we're talking about some of these technical trainings that if people are interested, I do have a video on like a typical rec session, but that's like 4 or 5 really young ages. So I wouldn't do Belgian boxing like a really young age, but like if you're interested to know how I would do technical work, I have a video on the channel for really young rec kids.
Okay, so we're going to put that in the show notes as well. And then we'll also send it out to our email distribution list so that folks who may not hear the podcast can watch that video and learn from it. Hey guys, Neil Crawford, founder of Anytime Soccer Training and also the host of the Inside Scoop. This has been another video directed to our rec and not so rec coaches that I hope you enjoy. Let's get better together. I bet you've spent hours searching YouTube, Instagram, and the internet for soccer drills. And when you find them, the videos are not follow along, they're not easy for your child to use, and they don't go step by step. We created Anytime Soccer Training to solve this problem and more. Anytime Soccer Training is the only online training program with thousands of follow-along training videos that are easy to follow, go step by step, and cover every area of soccer. And if that's not enough, the program is fun with hundreds of skill challenges, soccer games, leaderboards, and cool prizes that all kids love. So what are you waiting for? Save time with a program that works. Go to anytime-soccer.com today and get started.